Welcome in, everyone, to the Challenge Aftershow. Today, Pamela, Jenna, and I are talking about All Stars Season 3, Episode 5, More Than Friends. And apparently, Cara lives. She's more than friends with Pauly.
Yeah.
But, we find out no more information on what we knew last week, basically, with the MJ and John A experience. Nothing burger with that. We know nothing. I looked online, all a bunch of speculation, nothing concrete. Very disappointed, ladies. We can just, I can ask you your overall thoughts on that exact topic if you'd like, because that was the big nothing burger we got tonight.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead. I'll go. I'm not even disappointed. Well, first of all, I knew nothing. I'm going to say that straight off the bat. I didn't read any commentary. I didn't know anything except that it was insinuated. And then when it came out and it was like Beth, who's got a bone to pick, going, yeah, and I want Jenna because she's cheating on her husband with MJ. It's like,
hey,
know her name.
And just like Beth, you mispronounced her name. They're gonna be very upset.
No, I was quoting Beth.
Oh, okay.
I know John A's name. I was being Beth.
I've messed it up before.
I knew her name, and I was quoting Beth saying, you can't even get the person's name right who you're talking shit about. I don't trust you to have the facts one iota. And obviously she doesn't like her. She was trying to stir up shit. Like the way it came out, I was like, this is the conspiracy that they're having an affair. And both of them were like, we're not having an affair. Like, I don't believe it at all.
I don't believe it either. I never believed it. And this is what's so interesting about what social media and the internet has done to our opinions and our perception of things. I don't really, like most of us, pay too much attention to all of the social media battles and the things that go on Instagram and all these rumors and this Vevmo or Pinky Rose, whatever. So I saw the teaser for last episode where Beth sits down and says, well, Jenna is cheating on her husband, MJ. And I was like, what the hell is wrong with you, Beth? Like, why would you make up such an outlandish, ridiculous lie? I'm completely like, what nonsense is this? And then I start poking around a little bit and I find the Reddit chains and all these things in our comments from last week of everybody saying that this apparently did happen last season, but production didn't show it. And I start to think like, oh my gosh, maybe this is true. Like I thought Beth was lying. People keep saying that it's true. But then I have to remind myself, where is any of this evidence? Where is anybody getting this from? And that's what the internet will do to you. You see a headline and you almost believe it without seeing any sources. So even with like these Redditors or the commenters, where are you guys getting your information from? And where did Beth get her information from?
Well, so that's the point.
Running her mouth. Where did she even hear it from? So all this stuff, I had to like walk myself back and be like, Jenna, you didn't believe this to begin with. There's no proof of this. Why are you now just because a bunch of people on the internet are throwing it out there?
Well, Beth did not make this rumor up because if you check those Reddit chains and when the months came out, it was like 7 months ago. So this is right after All Stars 2 filmed. That's when the first rumors started coming out. We all missed it. None of us I didn't even think of this as a thing until Beth brought it up on the show. So this wasn't from Beth. Beth must have read those things or just heard it through a grapevine of a million different, telephones of people saying stuff. And then she did bring it out to a national audience here. But yeah, so I don't know if I believe it or not, but Beth didn't make it up. She did hear it somewhere as a rumor. But however, how do rumors get started, right? Rumors get started based on maybe something that is partly factual. We did see how close they became in season 2. We did see her braiding his hair throughout the seasons. Hey, well, look, is that not somewhat flirtatious or cute? I mean, I don't see a lot of other people getting their hair braided by John A besides MJ. I know they're supposedly got really close, but they weren't friends before All Stars 2 either. So something clearly, I think there was some type of attraction between them. I love a good controversy. Someone brought up in our chat last week, like, hey, if it did happen, I like that Beth said something because John A's husband deserves to know the truth. But who knows what the truth is?
I'm a big person that is against the phrase like, don't trust a girl when she says just a friend. Like, the whole song. I always hated that because I have so many guy friends, and like all of my friends, same with my female friends, I'm very loving towards all of them. Like that's just how I am as a person. That's how certain people are. I'm a toucher, I'm a hugger, I'm a lover. So like I'll hug on my guy friends, I'll hug on my girlfriends. So if Janae and MJ are doing that, it actually frustrates me that they're not just allowed to do that in friendship. Like you can love someone from the opposite sex without being romantically involved in them. Like you can love the shit out of somebody as a friend. Why does there always have to be some sort of dumbass rumor that goes along with it?
But it got started. I'm just wondering because it got started somewhere. I was just trying to think of reasons why it could have gotten started. And someone's going to look at that hair braiding and take it the wrong way. And then it builds into something. But there was also another rumor from All Stars season 2 that I don't know if you ladies heard about. And that is you love Melinda. You ladies both love Melinda. And apparently her and LT supposedly hooked up on All Star season 2. So both rumors came out, and it's not like they made up like a million other ones. For some reason, these two came out. I'm not saying there's any factuality to them, but they got started for a reason. So I'm wondering if there's something a little bit more that we'll never know. Just like the reason that Ashley got kicked out of last season. We're never going to know these things. And it kind of sucks because maybe it was nothing, or maybe it was something, but we're just sitting in the middle, and then everyone speculates and it spreads like a virus, and it sucks because no one knows the truth.
I tend to not believe, I don't know anything about Melinda and LT, but they were also close friends. I think people just, like to kick shit up. With Janae and MJ, I tend not to believe it because if they're going to bring that up and do that, and the best they can do is Beth saying it while she's attacking. I mean, she's not saying it casually. She's saying it whilst attacking Janae and saying, I want to vote her in and I don't like her. And she's sneaky and she plays the game wrong and she's having an affair with MJ. It just seemed like a litany of complaints. And also, usually when something's true and everyone knows and they're kind of like, it's on the DL, the reactions to that were like, what the hell is this bitch talking about? So for all we know, even though it did say it, maybe Beth did start it. It's like, where did it come from? Who knows where it came from? And maybe it came from before, but I don't know. I don't think that other than Beth's decree, there's nothing to make us think that is in any way true.
Yeah. And like, as far as like this pink rose or wherever it gets started from, how hard is it? I mean, I know maybe they want to be a really good news source, and this is a bad move. However, what if they're just trying to get the likes and the clicks that people like to get? She knows he or she, whoever runs the Pink Rose account, knows they have a big enough following where whatever they write, someone's going to take that as concrete evidence and a factual thing that may or may not have happened. So how easy is it for Pink Rose to write down a lie? It's really easy. So like, who knows if this is true? She could have just written it down and then like, yeah, it spread.
What if it's also unintentional? What if Beth emailed Pink Rose and said, hey, hot tip? No, just like the cast was all saying that.
Hi, I hope this email finds you well. My name is Beth. I have been a cast member on The Real World since 1960.
Yeah. I'm not saying she said, hey, this is Beth and whatever, but yeah. When you read Star Magazine or even Us Weekly, it'll say a source close. They're not saying it's true. Someone told me Jen and Brad are back together, like a source close to Jen. It's like, it doesn't mean anything. So like Jen Aniston's, dry cleaner said she spotted her with, but it's really, you don't have to say much to say there are rumors that MJ and Janae, they're not necessarily even saying that it happened. I didn't read it, so maybe they're saying.
Well, apparently this happened. Apparently this happened off season, like they weren't filming at that time. So there's another reason that helps this rumor, because other people would have seen this happen, meaning castmates. And who the heck is not gonna? Someone else is gonna say something besides Beth. There's not just gonna be one person. It's gonna get out. So the fact that no one else is talking about this anywhere. You know what I should really follow Wes on Patreon, because he does a breakdown every week, him and his wife. They break down every episode. And I wonder if he doesn't mention it there, it probably didn't happen. Like he's going to say, he likes to talk behind the scenes stuff. He has a whole thing about Yes that he does from a couple episodes ago, supposedly, where he breaks down what really happened in that conversation they had in that room. So I feel like Wes would bring out the details. And maybe he does talk about it this week, but he probably says it didn't happen.
But listen, this is what's so different about the show in general, but also because this is All Stars. Everybody's a grown-ass adult, and I don't think anybody wants to touch an accusation like that for something that carries so much weight. Like, Johnny is married, has kids. I don't know what MJ's marital situation is, but I know he has 2 children. So he has like the mother of his kids. So there's a lot at stake there. I don't think anybody wants to touch it. And that's what I was kind of yearning for in that situation when Beth says that at the table. I'm like, where are my follow-up questions? Like, Sylvia and Mark, I need you to have more of a reaction. I need you to ask her what the hell she's talking about. I need you to say, where'd you hear that? Why are you saying that?
I know.
So I needed Beth to back her bark up when Johnny finally came and confronted her. I was thinking, now's your chance. You can't you can't just allude to you're a cheater and you're not fair and you don't play this game right.
So
you just made a really outstanding accusation on TV that a lot of people are going to watch, including people that are in this situation adjacently that could be really hurt by this. Families could literally fall apart. You know, depending on what Johnny's husband wants to believe, you could make a divorce happen right here. Like, how dare you not just say it to that person?
And I wonder if it's done just for good TV, but we're not getting good TV when it's based on something they're not going to give us any more details besides what we heard in the preview the week before. We learned nothing extra. They showed us the whole club scene and the club chatter, as you might say, and there was nothing. We already knew everything that we knew from last week, which is a bunch of, ooh, maybe they'll tell us more, and they didn't tell us anything. It sucks. It's garbage. I don't care. It's a nothing burger to me, so I was very disappointed.
I mean, I wouldn't say it's total garbage because it's just the whole situation with Beth saying it makes you think and wonder.
But what did you both said it as well as I did. We don't believe Beth. So how did it really affect anything? MJ, and they showed MJ and Johnny just both basically saying a line like, I am not cheating with this. I did not have sexual relations with, that's all it was. And then we moved on. It was so dumb. It sucked.
Well, I guess what I mean is it makes me think about Beth's character and her kind of showing herself her colors. And even though I don't believe it happened, even though I don't believe it happened, you still, I don't know. She's trying to plant some sort of seed of doubt. So it's obviously making people on the internet think. So
if you want to bring drama to the table, and even if it's this cutthroat, if you have something to back it up where it really did happen, bring the drama. I'm here for it. But if you have nothing, like Beth didn't give us anything to go with that, get out of here.
Or production. That's where I'm going to jump in and interpret. I think Dan's saying it's a nothing burger in terms of a plot line. Like, it was brought up and denied and over. And Jenna's saying it's not nothing for some adult woman, arguably the oldest adult on the show, to get on and accuse on TV 2 people of having an affair is not a nothing burger. I mean, that's like you're saying it's not nothing because that's a pretty shitty thing to do. And Dan's saying it's nothing in terms of it.
I guess if Johnny and her guy, I don't know what his name, Steven, I have no idea what his name is, but if they have such a strong relationship and someone just comes out and says this nonsense, they'd be like, get out of here, Beth. You know, it shouldn't be an issue, I guess is my point. If you have such a great relationship, it'd be like, it obviously didn't happen. So that's where I wonder, is something else going on? Who the hell knows?
I felt like that's how they handled it. I felt like Johnny, like the comment was like the producer saying, so Beth said you're having an affair with MJ, are you? And she was like, no, I'm not having an affair with MJ. Like, it was the biggest, again, they're like in bunk beds in a room.
I know. I guess I want to believe that rumors don't get started out of absolutely nothing and that there's some truth to it. So I can at least believe that reality TV is a little bit real, because then if you just throw out a bunch of lies and then people start believing stuff, we're not watching, and we're watching a sitcom. We're watching an hour-long drama. I want there to be real things that are happening in these people's lives. Call me crazy for thinking I want that.
Usually, I think where there's smoke, there's fire. That they don't.
That's what I hope for in theory, even if it's something bad, I guess. But whatever.
But their friendship, like I can see where a rumor would come about. Sorry, there was a fly near me.
No, it's tough. You really have to take everything with the situation, because I do, for the most part, believe where there's smoke, there's fire. But sometimes there's just absolutely not. Sometimes someone just truly makes something up.
And she was in anger saying this. It wasn't like It
Well,
was just
I don't think she made it up though. She heard it somewhere, but then had nothing to back it up because she just heard it from somewhere. That's the point, right?
but
She
whatever
said,
the deal is, it was coming from Beth, and the reactions of the people she said it to didn't seem like, oh no, she went there to me. It seemed like, the fuck are you talking
it
about?
was all, I'm sorry, but like I want to say it's a little producer influence. Beth came in mid-season, produced like, hey, when you get there, if you don't mind, we know you're not going to make it very long because you're awful at this game. Can you mention the MJ and John A thing that you had talked to us about previously in the interview to get on this next season? We kind of need you to bring that up. Did you not notice that John A was like perfectly in earshot when Beth said it? A producer goes to John, hey, John A, Beth's talking about you. Then she listens for it. It's all feels influenced by producers for sure. Because John A not only came over, but she was like, why do you want to go against me? As if to say, like, she knew she said something of the reason of why was not very nice versus just like, I want to go against you because you're smaller than me. It was obviously something different than that. So I feel like it was influenced. But yeah.
Thanks for just reminding me of that and being the voice of reason, because I always feel like such a sucker when I forget this fucking TV show.
Yeah.
I'm always like, oh yeah, that's right. How was John A just magically in earshot?
Exactly. That's my point, because no one else seemed to be around their little corner where they were talking, but John A somehow heard and then asked why Beth didn't wanted to go against her in the elimination. Give me a friggin' break. So I didn't believe that for a second, but that's
in that case, kind of a well-produced scene then, because it had me like, ooh, yes, John A's coming in here. She heard her name and now this is happening. But yeah.
Right. And again, now I'm totally like, yes, the producers were like, Beth, you've got 3 days. Cool. Come in, stir up as much shit as possible, and we're going to get you out of there.
There
like,
it is.
She quit
She quit the daily challenge. She quit the elimination. She couldn't make it through anything. Well, she did beat, Kendall, but yeah.
She came and stirred shit up. I think they were like, shit, Tina's leaving. We need someone that's just going to come in and like talk a bunch of shit.
Technically, Jemmy's leaving. Jemmy always likes to stir the pot too. They lost 2 heavy hitters with the stirring of the pot.
What's interesting though is that there were so many other things that made this episode filled and complete that I was already distracted with. Like, I feel like my wheels were turning this whole episode just thinking about things politically and strategically within the house. For example, the Brad situation and the men in the house kind of forming what feels like a mega alliance minus 2 people was really interesting to me. And I was feeling for Brad basically the whole episode. So I don't know if we want to
let's break down the challenge of the day. It's called Sidetracked. And basically what happens is you have MJ, Jordan, and that's right. So you're right, Pamela. It's the 3. And then all the other dudes in the house, like you just mentioned, Jenna, get together. Nehemiah, Wes, Brad, Mark, and Derek. I was a little confused by this because they basically all 5 of them got together and they were like, so we're going to let Mark be the winner, or this is like all Wes was doing his thing. And then I guess Brad kind of wanted to earn it himself, because we find out from TJ that the new authority is just the top male and the top female, and they get to pick 1 male and 1 female, but then those people picked get to pick who they want to go against. Game changer and all that. We didn't guess this, by the way. You thought it might have something to do with the stars, Jenna. I thought it might be teams. None of that happened. It was just that the authority changed. I guess that should have been our third thought, but whatever.
That was really great.
Yeah,
I'm glad that they did that, because it's the numbers are diminishing. People are starting to leave the house, so it's time to make the competition a little bit stiffer and not allow people to, like Yes was saying, just become third best. You can't just be now like one of the top 3 guys who you have to win this challenge today. 1 female winner, 1 male winner. It really raises the stakes. I was feeling empathetic towards Brad in this situation because he's best friends with Wes and Nehemiah, but luckily he was also in this alliance from the beginning with some of the older guys, Mark, Derek, and
that's it. That's everyone.
It. Right. But now Wes at the top of the episode weasels his way in, and you can't necessarily fault him, but I kind of was just rolling my eyes. I was kind of like, okay, Wes, you're trying to get into this alliance, but shouldn't somebody maybe be calling him out for already being in obvious other alliances? I mean, sure, Brad is in 2, but he's kind of playing under the radar enough that I feel like Wes is coming in and stealing Brad's sunshine a little bit. Like, he's weaseling his way into this alliance. And then before the challenge starts, without any other preparation, I guess he kind of rallies everybody together and starts to spearhead a game plan to make sure that these 5 guys are safe no matter what. But it's Mark who offers his own name. It's Mark that says, let me win. Let me be the winner, guys. Let me be the winner. And I feel pathetic towards Brad because what can Brad really do at this point? If he vocalizes like, no, let's not let Mark win, or hey, maybe we should all just kind of play for ourselves. He's creating a divide and he's drawing a clear line of like, no, I'm actually playing an individual game. But guess what? Everybody's playing an individual game. So it flex for Brad because Brad has the capability to win, I think, every daily challenge. He's so well-rounded.
Yes.
Well, he thought he should have won today as well. And I don't blame him. He's been playing great all season.
And all of a sudden it's now, so we're going to put MJ in, and who's MJ going to pick? Brad. So it's like, wait, what? I just sacrificed myself so Mark could win?
In Wes's defense, from the beginning of the season, him and Nehemiah are always boys. They're always going to look out for each other. And Brad had been looking out for Wes for the majority of the season. So he had those 2 guys on his back. He just made his alliance a little bit bigger by adding Mark and technically Derek into it, even though Derek's in the treehouse technically with the girls. But how does that work? Because you kind of have guys versus girls, but well, we can get into it in a little bit, but Wes does help out Brad in the end. He says like he stood up there for his wedding. I mean, this is a deep friendship, and for all the crap that we give Wes for turning on people and stabbing people in the back, he hooked Brad up. He looked out for Brad. He made sure that MJ's name wasn't called. He volunteered himself. So
he really put his money where his mouth is today. I was so impressed because you might be like he said, Brad, I'll go.
Let's be, but I want to say this though. Wes is also very smart. He knows there's so many heavy hitting dudes left in the game. And he also knows Yes is the only man to not ever appear in an elimination. He knows this guy has no experience in that. So what Wes might be thinking, conspiracy corner Dan here, is, why don't I put myself into elimination now so that later maybe they'll leave me alone? I don't have to do it again. Say, I've already been in there. It's time for someone else. And then he got to pick Yes, who is the least experienced elimination person ever. Dan's conspiracy corner. And that's what I have.
Right? Wow, that's great. Yeah.
If that's what he's thinking, I don't know. But that's what I thought.
That's very logical. Like that tracks. It's like, I'm going to go in now, pick who I want, and have sacrificed myself early on when I get to pick, and it's not the best of the best.
And we also don't know what the stars mean yet. And maybe Wes is thinking, hey, I'll get a star as well. This is like 100% beneficial for my game right now.
I think you're so.
I do think, with that being said, maybe he was thinking so many moves ahead, and it does benefit his game in terms of showing loyalty, but also just where he is in the game, having already gone into elimination, having stars, having kicked Yes out, who Yes, I mean, is there anybody more competitive to go against in a final and you get him out of the house? Right. So from a game standpoint, and also just showing that you're a loyal person. But all that being said, I still think Wes just genuinely made the ultimate sacrifice for Brad.
I do too.
So I still think that because think about it, you don't know what that elimination is. And Wes hasn't really performed that amazing in the last few seasons in his eliminations, and going against Yes, who has endurance, you don't know what game you're stepping into.
Well, this is also why
when you go into elimination, it's pretty much 50-50. Like you could just as easily be going home. So it's still a huge gamble and risk. And the way he did that for Brad, to me, was really just
Wes also had the option
showing a friendship.
Whoever volunteers themselves or wants to go in, they also get to see the elimination first. And if it is something like, oh, I got to stand on a log for an hour and a half right now, maybe he would have picked MJ, who has the bad knee. He has that one up on anybody he goes against, because then he can pick someone based on their weaknesses, possibly. I think he was going to pick Yes no matter what, because the elimination record that he has, which is 0-0, now it's 0-1. But yeah, I think it's nice. It's a nice heads up for that person to have, hey, I know I'm going in, versus the other person, you're up there, and then all of a sudden, boom, it's game time. You don't have a lot of time to adjust like the other person does.
And what's interesting is Brad had a right to be pissed because he agreed to this plan that he didn't want to be a part of. He could have won this challenge. He could have had power, but he did it for the sake of the alliance, for the sake of like maybe not showing his colors or being supportive of Wes. But still, when Wes sacrificed himself to go into elimination, I almost, if I was Brad, probably still would have felt bad or a sense of guilt. Like I might have been like, oh shit, well, you don't have to do all that, you know? I don't know. It feels
I
like,
mean, if
wow,
this
my
doesn't
friend
create
literally just
a guaranteed alliance now, not only as long as if Brad wins the next round, to challenge of the day, or Wes wins, it doesn't matter. If Brad wins, Wes knows there's no way in hell, unless the other person picks him, he's gonna have that guy on it for him, like for the rest of the game. Brad is gonna be his number one, and so is Nehemiah. He's got two guaranteed dudes that are gonna put him first over anybody. There's no way Brad's too nice of a guy. He's not gonna turn his back on him now.
right, totally. And as supportive of Brad as I was this episode, I also was playing a little bit devil's advocate with myself, thinking, well, you know, you did say MJ's name twice. So MJ does have that.
Oh, for sure.
Of course.
So it is kind of like, and you know, I guess you still could have played individually. Maybe, you know, you could have pulled a bananas and just said like, fuck playing for Mark. I'm just going to play for myself. But that's not really smart in the bigger terms of politics. So I really felt for Brad because he was just trying to do the best thing while also playing his best game. And it kind of felt like he couldn't do both. So Wes really stepped up for him.
He did, but I also think Wes is super calculated and not that selfless. Like I think it was
For sure.
calculated, right? Like I tend to agree with Dan. It was very thought through. I think he was like, you know what? I got to go in at some point, go in when I can pick someone and be a hero and solidify this alliance. I mean, it still is a gamble. I'm not saying there was no sacrifice in it. I do agree that it was, but I think it also, he wouldn't have done it if he didn't calculate the pros and cons pretty, thoroughly.
So for as much as I love this new season of All Stars, I will admit I was not a huge fan of this challenge of the day. I'm tired of challenges where it's supposed to be an individual game, but you can work with your alliance during the challenge. I don't like it. I'm sick of Sylvia winning just because she has the biggest alliance in the house. I can't, it wasn't like earned. I'm tired of these challenges that they're not earned. I want them all to be individuals, like, because going in like, oh, you're all individuals, just throw it on the person you want. No, you're all just going to sabotage people to get people out. I'm tired of these. I don't know what you ladies think of these type of challenges, but I'm a little over it at this point.
Well, I agree that I had a similar thought. Like, man, this really takes away from the fun or the shock value because both of those big alliances did end up winning.
Right.
And of course, you're actively, I mean, that's rhetorically, I don't know if you guys were, I was actively rooting against each of those alliances because it's just not fun and it's predictable. However, that is part of playing the game. So you could almost make the argument that they're earning these wins because politics, as we know, is so much of it. So yeah, they put the work in politically, and Jordan, like, he's incredible, but he's completely rogue. He has no alliance in this game.
But I guess that's my problem though. The best, I guess strategically the best players are winning, but not the best ones that are actually good at something. So like
athletes. Yeah, the best
athletes are having no chance unless you're in a big alliance. You're right.
Right. So of course I'm like, this would be sick if Jordan just like runs laps against everybody and is like getting everybody's rings on the hoop just because he's so great and he ends up winning, but it's not going to work that way. And that also goes to show how well other people are playing the game. Like it counts to be political, and it shows up in some of those challenges.
I agree with you, Dan, that I think it's well, first of all, this challenge in and of itself, I'm like, whoa, this is where it was super zone out until it started.
Yeah, it wasn't a very fun, like why I'm watching ring toss. Like it's like it looked like our challenge that we did, ladies, back in the day where I was throwing it onto the ring.
You said that. I watched that last night.
Did you?
So funny.
Well, also though, what I hate even more than that is when the rigged winner wins and they're like, I did it, kids. Like it's
yeah, Sylvia was pumping herself up. Like when she won, she's like, yes. I'm like, yeah, it's easy when you're friggin' 4 against 2.
Right. Mark too was like in his confessional, like, I still got it. It's like, what do you mean you still got it?
Well, how about Mark admitting he's like, yeah, I'm walking this out because I know I'm getting the victory. Like, what kind of challenger is that? I don't want to root for you now.
I think this challenge still could have been good if people started to realize either before or at least halfway through that other people are fucking working together. Like the other women in the game, like, come on, Kellyanne, like you gotta know, Kellyanne and Naya, and John A, like, why are you guys not teaming up towards each other? And
even, yeah. right before it,
Yeah.
Jenna, right? Why didn't we see those three get together and say, oh no, those four, the treehouse girls are obviously going to go against us right now. Why don't we three get together and challenge them? That sucks. You're totally right, Jenna. They should need to do that.
Because then it's even, you know,
Yeah.
that's even. And Jordan can look at MJ and be like, shit, I think all these guys are coming for us. Who are we going to pick off?
Yeah,
You know?
let's blame the guys just as much. Why didn't Jordan, MJ, and Yes get together and realize that the other five, I guess that's a little more, such a new alliance. Maybe they didn't know as much.
They sort of did. I mean, they
They
mentioned
did.
like, well, then we're going to work together.
Well, how did they not see them all talking as a group of five? There's five big, bulky dudes. How do they hide that? Where they go to a secret spot that no one saw?
And Yes was there. Like, Yes was there. Did you see? I was like, wait,
I didn't see him.
Oh, Yes was there. Like, so I think he knew.
Yeah, and I think something else I'm picking up on, and maybe I'm just thinking this, manipulating it myself, that's going on between the women is it seems like all the other women in the house understand that there's this treehouse alliance. It's no fucking secret that Sylvia and Kayla are best friends and working together. And now it's no secret that Veronica, the three of them are very tight. Ronnie, I can understand how she might appear like an outlier in other situations, but it's starting to become very clear that they're all in the same room. Of course, they're working together. I'm starting to get the sense that the other women are trying to do one of two things: either play nice with those girls to hopefully be in their good graces and not piss them off enough to go into the, get called out by them to go into the elimination, or maybe trying to become like an adjacent to their alliance, but neither of those things are working. And what's annoying me is that the other women aren't thinking about going after Kayla and Sylvia and Veronica and trying to get them out of the house, because they're never going to have their back over the other treehouse girls at this point in the game, So Janae, I understand that she has personal beef with Beth, but I didn't think that Janae targeting Beth in the challenge or saying her name in the elimination was the smarter, bigger game move for Janae, because Janae, you're going to beat Beth in a final. She's not a threat to you. And all the treehouse girls are never going to put you above their alliance that's already intact. So say you want to go against Kayla, get Kayla out of the house. Say you want to go against Sylvia, get Sylvia out of the house. But I'm wondering if they just want to play nice or if they're hoping that they can still somehow get into the alliance.
She wanted to win. I think she wanted to come back, and she both doesn't like Beth and thought she could beat her. So it was like a personally good move. It wasn't, at this stage, because she hadn't gone, she said, I haven't been in an elimination since whatever, 8 years ago or something, or more than that.
It looks like next week we're going to see that Kellyanne and who's the Anaya have had enough of this treehouse, and they're going to come after them at this point. So hopefully they all team up like we've been saying they should do the last couple of weeks. So, and we're already halfway through the season. Remember, these seasons are only like 10 episodes long. Mm-hmm. They mentioned it tonight. I was doing the math. I'm like, oh yeah, it's 10 again, because it was 10 last season, 10 the season before. They're in and out in a month. I mean, maybe 5 weeks. They film these quick because these people have lives to get back to. So we're already halfway done. We talked about, I guess Mark and Sylvia win. We mentioned that they get the sabotage for next week. We have the party club chatter, whatever. We learn a little bit more. MJ says he wants Brad. We talked about that. Beth has her thing. We don't have to reopen that. And then Brad has the issues with Wes. That's what's next. And he sits them down and they talk in the workout room. And that's when Wes makes the big announcement.
What do you think would have happened if this elimination ended up being Brad versus MJ?
Brad probably would have won.
I think Brad wins because it looked like, let's talk about the elimination. That elimination looked hard as hell. If you didn't have anybody helping you out from the sideline, I don't know how you win this damn game. And I think that Brad would have outlasted MJ just because MJ's legs are bad. And it looked like you were just standing and bending those knees the entire time. MJ's legs would have given out on him. One little hit from one of those little pads.
Yeah, this is a game on the surface level that looked like strength, but then you realize that it's endurance. Yeah. It's way trickier to get somebody off that ledge than it looked like.
I'm not sure the girl, unless someone gave up on the girls' end like Beth did, how are you going to win that? You don't have enough power to keep pushing those things. You're tired as hell. I can't imagine enough of a hit to actually propel them off.
Right. Like you can see it start to move and move away.
Just move away. I think that the producers, honestly, they weren't thinking this through. I know they test these games out, but This game is like super. I think many people be up there for like hours and hours trying to get people up.
But that's okay. I mean, I agree with you at first. I was like, is this a good game? Is this a good elimination? But I think it ended up proving that it was, because it comes down to the endurance and staying mentally in it. For example, Yes was really surprising me. I thought it was actually really funny to see that side of him. I've never seen him so like hyped up and trying to psych somebody out and having that energy. He's usually just lets his athleticism speak for himself and doesn't try to play mind games. So it was funny and curious to see from him. But I think ultimately it had the opposite effect of what he hoped. And I think he used way too much energy. And
yeah, I mean, just
when he fell off, it almost just felt like it was out of physical defeat, right? Like it almost just felt like womp womp. I don't know. I kind of felt like his body was so tired that he just was like, all right, I'm just losing now. I didn't really feel like it was a wow, like Wes, that triumphant, he knocked him off the ledge. It almost like Wes just, I'm sorry, Yes, just, I don't know. He just kind of.
With that said, I mean, did you see how calm Wes was up there? That just goes to show you how many eliminations it takes to create that stability. If he was just like, I'm in this moment, it could last forever, but I'm never going to let anybody even think that I mean, he was like in a meditative state, just doing this, just waiting for his moment. I will give Beth this. Nobody's on Beth's side at this point. There's not one, at least they don't show anybody even trying to help Beth out. I don't agree with her quitting. I think it sucks, but at the same time, it must have been frustrating for her not having one person saying, like, letting her know where Jonna is. She's blind and she knows that every other person is literally telling Jonna where Beth is.
No.
So it just, I'm not saying I wrote down Beth sucks. I said, I wrote down fight through adversity. I wrote that down. Beth doesn't do any of these things. It is. How is that not a, that is,
like he's making t-shirts. He's making Beth sucks.
Yeah.
But if that isn't fighting through adversity, I don't know what is. Having everybody against you, just why not stick it to them and just stay up there for 8 hours, at least so you can say if you lose, yeah, I was up there for 8 hours though. I had 11, it was 11 versus 1. I lasted 8 hours. Instead, she just went home.
Well, I'm conspiracy Dan's conspiracy corner now. I legitimately think the producers were like, Beth, come shoot for 3 days. And when you're done, you're done. I'm not kidding. Because even TJ was like, what? You're done? Beth's done. Like, there was
he didn't even try to convince, did he try to convince her to stay up there? I don't know.
Part 2 of Dan, I sort of, again, I think that's bullshit. I cry bullshit on Beth. Like, only MJ was helping her. Literally only MJ. Nobody else is like Team Jonna. I think it was like, we hate Beth, but Jonna's a champ. Let's let her go. She's, again, Beth isn't a threat to them either. So it wasn't like the whole house was telling Jonna what to do. And she was, it's like, that is such a stupid ass cop out. That's like, it's like,
I'm not denying that. I just,
MJ was sitting there yelling.
I wish there was a way where they couldn't help them as much. And we've seen it in worse in other seasons where literally CT's up there solving puzzles for
math
people.
Problems and shit. Yeah, I mean, like, or with Tori and her man.
Devin.
Yeah, I mean,
against
Emmanuel.
Emmanuel.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
Like there's things that definitely feel annoying and frustrating, but for someone who has competed in this game for so long, it is surprising to me that she used that excuse. Like you've seen so many other people cheer for other people, try to direct them in the elimination. I do get what you're saying, Dan. I feel for her too. That's gotta suck. But at the same time, it's like, you're spreading rumors and, you're not really making alliances. You reap what you sow a little bit. If you want to be there, you fight through it. Don't say that they're cheating. It's not as like anybody is playing the game for her. They're just supporting her.
But Beth is not a great competitor anyways. Like I'm looking at her challenge career right now, not her all-stars career, just her challenge one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. She was on 8 seasons and she made it to a final where she didn't win. So that's the only reason she was even allowed on this damn show, because of one lucky in 2000, she made it to
I'm
You know,
so far into this conspiracy at this point, and Beth sucks so hard that I feel like Beth's in on it. Like, unless she just is the worst
Right.
ever, I really like it. The Real World Homecoming season that you were on did really well. You're kind of relevant right now in people's minds. Come on in. I know you're like married and have kids and have a job and stuff. To come in for 3 days, stir shit up, and we'll get you out of there. I almost feel like that.
but
It's
I
like
think Beth was
she
always.
was not in there to win or play.
I think Beth, as we recall, though, we did on our Patreon. I believe we talked about who was going to be on this season, and I believe we always said that Beth was an alternate, so she was waiting in the curtains already. I don't think she was brought in for that. But
sort of exaggerating my conspiracy a little bit, but I think legit this entire season, I think they taped for 2 weeks. So I
well,
think
no.
two or three-
They tape 2 episodes a week, and there's 10 episodes. They tape for 5 weeks, which is a month and a week.
That would be.
Oh no, are you talking about Homecoming?
All Stars. Oh, Homecoming's what's
Homecoming
2
is
weeks.
2 weeks.
Something that's
All Stars
literally
is 5
so
weeks.
short that it's
I was like, the amount on their body, they don't
Yeah,
get
there's
an
no
off day then.
Okay,
They
so
don't get
this
an
is
off
fine.
day. I don't think that they can even legally make them compete every single day. That would be
Right.
insane.
Well, who was it? Sylvia mentioned tonight. She goes, "Oh, we have tomorrow off anyways." I mean, they give them off days, so it's a
Yeah.
5 weeks for the All Stars and then 2 for Homecoming.
Also, not that I'm like, I am Team Treehouse. However, I just want to say Sylvia was a good ring tosser. Why you gotta? She was a good ring tosser, and she did a good job.
Because they showed her. Everyone made rings. They just showed her.
They just showed her getting them, right? It's like
Big deal. Everyone made rings. They all did well at the ring toss. Eventually, when they made one, they just showed her make 3.
Yeah, I don't know. Again, I thought both of these were kind of stupid. I agree that it was like that could have gone on forever. And I also felt like you could stand in between the things. So it's like you can be in front, like
You talk about the elimination,
in the final. Or the
Oh, you're talking about that part.
Yeah.
Okay.
I thought, yeah, this elimination, I kept trying to think about what strategy would I use? What's the right gameplay here? And it's hard because sure, once you see that circle start to inch your way, you could just run the other way, but that's a good defense. But then running away means that you're then further from striking the other person off of their ledge. So you kind of have to stay in the danger zone the whole time to try to push them off.
There was little gaps that they were kind of hot. They weren't like the circles weren't butted up against each other. I wish they made them a little closer. Maybe that would have helped us end this game quicker.
There were times where it was like you push and you'd move to the side and you'd be in between 2 circles. So like,
Right. It's like, well, this is going to last forever.
Yeah, that's why I was like,
and you're doing it blind. So like, at least if you weren't blind, you could see them scoot out, then go for it. You're just guessing half the damn time.
Wes said, he's like, I can let Yes keep running his mouth. I know where his
wouldn't it have been cool if it was a clear plexiglass between them so you could see where your opponent is and make it really hard on each other?
Yes.
That would be too easy, wouldn't it?
Well, then do 2 out of 3. Do 2 out of 3 then instead of just the one elimination.
Okay. But I just think Wes did a really good job. He stayed composed the entire time. He was strong up there, and he pretty much did the opposite of what Yes did, and it seemed to work in his favor.
And maybe Yes is taking too much from the Jordan handbook from last week because Jordan was very vocal and he was able to win. So just I don't know.
I do have to admit though, it's not that I'm like rooting against Wes. However, I was disappointed that Yes went home just because it is nice to have somebody who's rogue and has somebody who kind of he's competing in his own way. And again, he's not playing the alliance game, which is obviously a detriment to his game. It's not helping him. He needed the politics. However, I'm rooting for these guys that aren't in this big mega group. I do want to see Yes do something and Jordan do something and MJ kind of like ruffle the feathers of this core group that is running the house, just because that's always fun. You always kind of want the underdog, the people who aren't in the Cool Kids Club to shake things up.
I'm 100% with you, Jenna. This was a hard, I love Wes, we love Wes, gotta have Wes. But at the same time, I love, I was like, no, this one was I didn't know who.
Who were you rooting for, Pam?
Who was I rooting for?
Yeah. I mean,
I think at the
A
end,
bug's gonna fly in your mouth.
I know. I think again, $1 million, million one. It's like Jordan and Darrell for me. It was a little bit West just because I don't want to see him go. He brings a little more to the show for me. So as much as I love Yes and some of that, like I don't want West to go. I didn't want Yes to go either, but I more don't want West to go.
The thing was, actually, I don't know why, again, Jenna just doesn't think about things all the way through sometimes. And I'm always like the dumb person in the audience who's surprised by things. But once Wes sacrificed, right? I thought he made such a friendship sacrificial move to vote himself in to show his loyalty to Brad. I was like, go Wes. I want Wes to win this. I'm thinking like, what I'm thinking he's going to call MJ down. I'm thinking he's going to call MJ, even though I want one of the outliers to shake things up. I was like, fine, send home MJ. Like, come on, Wes, you got this. I wasn't expecting him to say yes. I don't know why. I forgot like that
I
he
was.
had this tension. Yeah, and I understand he has this tension with Yes, but I was just thinking like, he's not going to say yes. Like, Yes is such a great competitor. And the fact that he did, I was like, oh shit. Now I'm like, who do I root for? Because I was so let's go West. But as soon as he said Yes, his name, I couldn't not root for Yes.
I'm
it was hard.
also though super, which it's funny, I don't realize these things until faced with these tough choices, but I'm also super team MJ and John A. Like I wouldn't have wanted him to beat MJ. Like I like Yes because I like the underdogs and I'm sick of that stupid alliance. And I'm gonna go ahead and say I don't think I like Mark. Like I've sort of been on the fence every season, and I'm not saying I hate him or anything or think he's a bad person, but it's like I don't know. I don't love him.
Well, it's you know what it is about Mark is he's a nice enough guy, whatever. He's the godfather of the challenge, whatever. But does he really bring that much to the show besides always saying, "Hey, I'm the godfather of the challenge"? He doesn't. His personality's not out there. Like he's not making moves like a Wes is. He's not trying to show the world how nice he is like Yes is. He's not showing how gritty and winning every daily challenge like Brad is. Mark is just kind of there.
I agree.
So I agree. I'm not gonna say I don't like Mark, but I will say, Pam, I don't care if Mark wins or loses because he's just kind of there to me.
I agree with you again, Dan. It's funny. We are on the same page a lot of this. I don't dislike
At least today we are.
today, but I don't care if he's there either. So there's certain people that I care for, and I want to see MJ and John A make it to another final. I'm concerned about MJ's leg or his bad knee or whatever, because but this was hard to see.
Maybe John A will give him a massage this season and we'll see that to help his leg out.
Maybe she'll give him a knee. She'll donate her knee. I don't know, 3-legged race. I don't know.
Simply remove her knee and give it to
She'll remove her kneecap.
They'll do a 3-legged race and then
knees. Yeah. Anyway, what was the bigger point you were making?
Is that I hated seeing Yes go, but I'm glad it was Yes. I guess over MJ. I like that at least there's a little more plot.
Okay.
The storyline was Wes doesn't like him because he has integrity, and it's like I like that. I like Yes a lot.
Yeah, I know. I find that dynamic interesting. You know, some people just. And I hate to do like the millennial or I don't know, Gen Z like buzzword about vibes, right? Like some people just, you have a feeling when you're around somebody or it is something about them where it just doesn't, you don't have that connection. And that happened with Wes and Yes, you know, it just is like to everybody else, Yes is a stand-up guy. He's a great athlete. He's a person with integrity and he's humble and he's nice, but to Wes just doesn't see it for some reason. Wes thinks it's a crock of shit. So I don't know.
I don't even believe. I think part of it is showmanship. I think there's a grudging respect in real life for each other. Mm-hmm. I think it might be like almost like a Polly and Kyle thing where like if there wasn't, because like when Wes calls out Yes, I'm like, just because someone has integrity doesn't mean they're going to go against someone. Like Wes is like, and my point is proven. And I don't think his point was ever proven. I think that probably they don't really dislike each other that much.
Well, hold on here.
That's true. Could definitely be played up for the camera. I do think sometimes Wes was sounding a little bit like a baby. Like when Yes kept throwing his ring on Wes. thing. Wes is like, wow, super fair of you. And it's like, Wes, since when do you care?
Right.
But at the same time, Yes clearly had an issue with Wes, especially even after their conversation. It's not like, and I know that Yes is playing it like, oh, I like everybody, I'm just here to compete. He clearly also, just like Wes had a problem with him, Yes clearly had an issue with Wes as well, for maybe he thought he was too cocky. So there was clearly something there in that dynamic that did not work. So Wes is, and to me, he is correct in calling Yes out for what Yes stands for, because clearly he had an issue with him. If he's such a Mr. Gung-Ho, I'm happy to be here, he had an issue with Wes. It's
being
obvious.
a person with integrity doesn't mean you don't dislike certain people. Like, just because you're playing a game honestly doesn't mean you're not gonna, he's honestly gonna gun for Wes. Like, he's not making manipulative, sneaky snake moves. He's like, you're targeting me, I don't like the way you play the game, and I'm gonna go after you. That's not he's still, Yes never said I'm not going to play, I'm just going to sit and zen out. Like, he's still, it's their gameplay is different. And I respected both their games. And again, Wes won, and he deserved it. So
did you ladies see, there was a clip at the beginning, like when they were showing us like what happens on this season of All Stars, and they showed like Wes basically naked but in his little underwears. He had like little white underwear on. That scene, if it is a scene from the series, still hasn't been shown yet. So I kind of, going into this elimination, was like, unless they just use that as like B-roll footage, they showed it to us, that scene of Wes getting mad in his underwear hasn't been shown yet. So I had a very good feeling Wes was coming back from this elimination against Yes. And maybe next week we finally see him in his underwear. Then I can say, okay, now he might go home if he ever gets thrown in again. Finally, we're all just waiting for this big. I mean, the dude looks great, by the way, for a 40-something-year-old. Wes is in his 40s at this point, right?
No. Everyone looks amazing.
But how old is Wes? Wes has to be in his 40s, no?
No, he's like 35, I think.
Wes, he's old. He's got to be older than me. I'm 36.
What? Let's look up. I'm sure we can find out.
I can look. I'm sure if I type in Wes age, it'll come right up.
I think everyone looks amazing, and it's like really cool and inspiring to see how in shape everybody is, and it makes me think it's not too late for me.
It's not, Jenna.
Wow. He's 30. He's 38 years old, so he's only 2 years older than me. I thought he was a lot older.
I thought he was younger than that. Yes, he looks great. I thought he was in his early 30s.
Guys, I want to get on the challenge so bad.
Really? Okay.
I'll cause some more controversy before we go if you want, then, ladies. Okay. Just another time that John A gets bailed out by someone on the challenge for her to win. There you go. There's some drama to leave the day with. She got bailed out again. She got bailed out in All-Star Season 2 for not having to finish the first part of the final. She got bailed out by Beth.
Oh, because Beth quit?
Yep, she got bailed out. Who knows what happened? Beth just stayed in.
You're so good with the receipts. I feel like it's so important to rewatch this stuff. Like, I think, as I've mentioned multiple times, my husband and I, wow, crazy to say husband, have just been going through like the whole Paramount. We just went back and we started a season, and now we've just been letting it just ride through. So now we're on Invasions. And I feel like it's so interesting to go back and watch now that we are where we are. Like, we see Corey, we see Kayla and Jenna as they are now, but it's cool to go back and watch and remember them. Like, you start to make these perceptions and biases against people, but then you go back, you're like, oh, like, this was really cool of them, or they were great here. Why did I think that they, so it's cool. I feel like it's important to go back and like get those receipts again.
Kayla's doing a good job too, just shout out. Usually I'm like, I don't know if she's good or not, or if she's just like whatever, but she's doing a nice job on this.
Doing a really good job. And her and Sylvia, and Veronica, they've just, politics is so important. They're doing, like, as amazing as Bananas was at every single challenge, which he would like always win every daily. He always still had a group of people, and it just is so crucial to have that. So they're doing great.
Yeah.
Well, if you're still listening to us, hashtag Wes's Jump in the comment section.
Okay.
Do you remember? Did you see that, Pam, when he jumped off the platform?
What? How'd you not
Pamela, where were your eyes during this episode?
Yeah, I never watched the previews and stuff, so apparently
this was after.
It was just today when he won.
When he won after he beat, yes, he jumped off like Jenna's doing and like I did.
It was so cute. He really won.
It was great.
Also, I want to give a
right there where it ended. So, well,
I want to give a gold star to Nehemiah as well. It's not that he's done anything to stand out in the challenge in the last 3 episodes, but I'm just enjoying like every time he is in the scene, whatever he is in the shot, he's always just doing something like fun and lively and adorable. And I'm just like, I like when he's on screen.
Well, any final thoughts on this episode? This is episode 5, More Than Friends. I will say this is Derek's podcast called Challenge Mania.
Yes.
He basically promoted it on the episode tonight by saying in a confessional, he's like, "Oh, this is going to be Challenge Mania tonight in the thing." I'm like, "You just said the name of your podcast, bro."
I know. Sadly, I've been feeling like that with Derek the last few times we've seen him. I feel like he in his confessionals, it sounds like he's trying to answer the questions the way they should, with the way a confessional should look. You know, like I feel like he's trying to give the answers that he knows producers are going to use. Like, here we are, and this changes everything. And wow, this is going to be a fight to the death. I don't know. Like Derek in his core and his root was never like that. He was always just as real as they come. And
well, now he's got a podcast to promote. So there you go.
Yeah. But I don't know. I just remember like his old confessionals and the way he was on the show was always just like true and honest and rough around the edges. And now it seems like he's a little bit like, wowee, this challenge.
One more final thought on Jonna, so everyone doesn't think I crap on her all the time. This went into her choosing Beth was the fact that Beth had 2 stars because Beth beat Kendall last week. So now Jonna and MJ got a shit ton of stars because they both went into an elimination and won. So that's some, and they're an alliance. So are these stars going to affect future episodes? I really hope so, because I want them to mean something, and I don't want them to be a nothing burger or like Jenna says, I want there to be a payoff. So there you go.
I agree. Hopefully you can use them to save someone at some point. I mean, that's
something cool. I just want something ridiculously cool to happen with these stars.
Here's a prediction is I think they might have like a purge like sort of situation where maybe, if you're somebody who has racked up this many stars, maybe you get to go to the final. And maybe the people who don't have stars, maybe you now have to go do some challenge to win it. Maybe you now, all 4 of you who don't have stars, you're fighting to the death.
There you go. So yeah, go to the arena and fight to the gladiator style.
Yeah.
All right. That's something. I don't hate it.
All right.
All right. Well, definitely check us out on our Patreon. We're going to put another episode of that up there. See some more people adding those $1 and $5 in there. We appreciate you.
Yay, thanks, guys.
And we will be back next week for another episode of All Stars Season 3. See you later.